Today, I'm going to show you just how easy it is to make favorites in ServiceNow. After we've made some favorites, I'll show you how you can do cool things like group them. And then finally, I'll show you how you can share your favorites with other users, your colleagues using ServiceNow with you. All right, let's get started on favorites. Okay, for this demonstration, let's set things up a little bit. In the new ServiceNow UI, your main menus are along the top and these menus can be pinned. If I click on one of them like this, it appears, and by clicking this pin here, it will hold it on the left of the screen. For our demonstration on favorites, let's unpin this main filter navigator and instead pin the favorites menu. Now you can see I have one favorite, this home link. And if I click this, it will take me to the page that's set up as my home page in ServiceNow, which takes me to the dashboard pages. All right, let's see then how we can create a favorite. Now to do that, let's just re-show the main filter navigator here. And one of the simplest ways to create a favorite is from any item in the navigation bar here, simply click this star and that will add a link to that item. So if I'd like to make a favorite to my requests, by clicking this star here, you'll see a pop-up window appears and allows me to select the name of my favorite. I'll leave the name as it is for now. I can choose a location. We'll come to the locations in just a moment. I can do more. We'll do that in just a moment too. For now, I'll just say done. And you'll see that we have a new favorite added to our favorites area here. Okay, so that was the first way to create a favorite. Now for the second way. Let's show our filter navigator again by clicking on this all menu item at the top of the screen and search in here for a table that I've already set up, which contains information records. So let's go to that list of information records. Now, from a list in ServiceNow, it is very easy to create a favorite. You can use the list context menu here by clicking on this hamburger menu here, come down to create a favorite, or you can right mouse click in this gray header area of the list. If I create a favorite from either of these two locations, it will create a favorite to the list that I'm looking at. All right, let's have a look at another way to create a favorite. What if we want to create a favorite to one specific record in ServiceNow? We can do that. If we go into this record here, in a very similar way, in the way that we use the context menu on the list and the header area of the list, we can do the same things for an individual task. So here, for this task, we can use this context menu at the top of the form and create a favorite, or as we saw with the list, we can right mouse click here in the header area and create a favorite. When we do this, this creates a favorite to the specific record that we're looking at. So let's add that one to our list of favorites. All right, let's show you another way to create a favorite to an individual record. So using our favorites link over here, let's go back to our list of informations. I'll select the second one here in the list. And the way that I can create a favorite here is simply by clicking the star at the top of the page here. Clicking this star here allows me to add this record as a favorite to our favorites bar. Now let's jump back to our list of records and show you a couple of other cool tricks about making favorites there. So we'll use our favorites link to our informations. So here in this list, I have two records visible, but this is a feature which is really useful in ServiceNow, is that I can choose a column. I'll choose the state column. I can right mouse click over a field here and say show matching. And what this does is it filters the list. You see now I've got one record showing, and over here, what has appeared is what we call in ServiceNow a breadcrumb. And this breadcrumb is a filtered version of the list. Now, from any of the methods that I've shown you before, either using the context menu, right mouse clicking here, or clicking the star on the top of this page, we can add a favorite to our list. However, the cool thing about the favorite that we make from a filtered list is that the favorite will remember the filtering. So when we use this favorite in the future, it will remember that we have filtered the list to only show information records that are in the state of open. Let's add this one to our list of favorites, but let's just change its name to be open informations. Add that. And let me show you just a second example of this. Let's go back to our full list by removing the filtering. And now I will go back to the state column and add another filtering, this time to filter for close complete records. Now you can see we have a different breadcrumb, but in the same way, if I create a new favorite here, and call this one closed informations, that adds to our list, you'll see the difference between clicking on these two. If I use open informations, I get a filtered list where the state of all of the records shown are open. And if I use closed informations, I get a filtered list where they are all in the closed state. This is really helpful when you're using lots of records in ServiceNow. Okay, so now we've seen how we can add favorites to forms, lists, and items that appear in the filter navigation area. Let me show you how you can add some favorites to some other areas as well. For example, we might want to add a favorite to a visual task board, or to a dashboard, or to a data visualization. They used to be called reports, they're now called data visualizations. Let's work through how we can do that. So let's start off by going to the filter navigator area. Let's search for dashboards, go to dashboards. We'll find one that I've created earlier called Cool Dials and Widgets. Let's have a look at this. Here's my dashboard. And by using the star at the top of the page, let's click on this and change its name and call this My Dashboard. Do that. We've got a new favorite added. In a similar way, we can do this and look for, let's say, data visualizations, which is the new version of reports. Look for reports owned by me. Here's one I created earlier called my info report. And this is my report. So now I can click on the star here and rename this to be my report. We can add that as a favorite. And finally, let's go to, say, task boards, visual task boards. Here I have an available one called Cool Things. It's got a few cards on it. And just like we've done with the others, by clicking on the star here, I can rename this. Or actually, I don't need to rename it. I'll leave it as it is, Visual Task Board Cool Things. And I can add that to my list of favorites. One more area that favorites work is within workspaces. So if we navigate into a workspace, let's say the asset workspace, here, let's go down to, say, a list of stock rooms. By clicking the star at the top of the page again, I can configure a favorite to this area. So let's call this stock rooms. Add that. I can even go down to a central stock room. This one's called an individual stock room. This one's called central warehouse. Let's create a favorite for that. And now if we just jump out of our workspace and then go to our favorites, we can see I've got stock rooms and central warehouse. If I click on stock rooms, it takes me to the stock rooms. And if I click on central warehouse, it takes me to that individual record. So this approach for creating favorites also works within workspaces. So right at the start of this, I said I would tell you a couple other things. Let me show you some things you can do with your favorites. Let's say you don't use a favorite anymore. You don't need it anymore. You want to get rid of it. That's easy. Just come into the favorites view here and click on the cross here, and that will allow you to remove the favorite. So we get rid of that one. Let me also show you a cool thing that you can do with your favorites, which is configuring the icons that go with them and then grouping them. So by going into our favorites menu here and then hitting on the edit icon, we get a pop-up which allows us to personalize our favorites. Let's say that for my open informations here, I click on it, I can see its name appears here. I'd like to have a different color icon and actually change the icon and use this symbol here. You can see it's that easy to change those. I might like to reposition in my list of favorites my dashboard and move it down to be beneath my report, and then maybe move my visual task board up above my reports. So you can order them from this edit menu. And the last thing to show you here is how we can create a custom group. So let's create a custom group, and I'll give this one a name of My Informations, and I will just save that. Now you can see here, I have My Informations. There's nothing beneath it at the moment. Let's go back to the editing. Now, I will first of all just change the name of Informations to be All Informations, because this is the favorite link that shows me all of my information records. Now, let's just drag it down underneath My Informations. And we'll do the same for our Open Informations, our Closed Informations, and the two individual information task favorites. Now we might just reorder all informations back up to the top of this list, save our edits. Now we can see that we have tidied up our favorites by grouping all of the ones relating to informations underneath this one header. All right, that's it for creating favorites, removing them, grouping them. The last thing I want to show you is how you can share your favorites with other users of ServiceNow. Okay, the simplest way to share your favorites with a ServiceNow colleague is to go to your favorites list, right mouse click on the favorite, and copy the link address. You can then copy that link, email it to them, send it to them via a chat, wherever it might be, send it to your colleague. They can then use that link, enter it into a browser, navigate to that page, and then set it up as a favorite. Let's see how to do that. Okay, so here I have another user who is logged into the same instance of ServiceNow. They simply need to take the link that we had from before, paste it in here, enter it, and you'll see that in this case, they are taken to this dashboard. They can just use the star at the top of the page like this to create their own version and call this admins dashboard shared, and say done. And now go to their favorites, and we'll see now we have an admin's dashboard shared. This approach works for all favorites, whether they be favorites taking you to a list of records, an individual record, visual task board, dashboard, or data visualization. The one thing to be aware of is that roles will have an impact. So if you are trying to share this with someone and that other person doesn't have adequate roles, they won't be able to see it. But often this approach will work for you to allow you to share a favorite that you've generated with someone else that you're working with within the same instance of ServiceNow. Okay, I hope you've enjoyed this. I hope you've learned something about favorites, how easy it is in ServiceNow. If you have, please subscribe to the channel. And I look forward to talking to you again soon. Bye.